Any privilege, this the time. It's probably been a while since you've heard a new episode from me. And I promise to not have such a long period of time between this episode and our next ones. And I have some plans on how we're going to ensure that we continue to produce good content for the improvement nerds that are out there. I want to remind you of what our goal is through the Improvement Nerds podcast is to invite individuals from the improvement world to come and talk about the things they're passionate about, whether it's tools, techniques, or experiences they've had, that they're able to share others so that they can learn from them and use those experiences to develop specific change tactics or action plans to affect change, either at work or in their personal life or in other roles. So it's something I'm very passionate about. It's something I had a lot of fun doing during the first season. And apologize that there's been a long downtime between our last episode and this one. As a solopreneur, had a lot of great things happen for my company. And one of those was adding team members and resources to this journey of mine. And they have brought passion to that as well. And it's been a lot of fun. And one of those individuals is someone who you guys are going to get to meet on this show. And he is an individual who is going to step in and become a host for the Improvement Nerds podcast and carry this torch forward. So extremely excited to be introducing you all to Mark Ryan. Mark, welcome. How are you doing?
Hey, Tom, I'm doing great. Thank you for that warm welcome.
Yeah. I'm excited for this. You and I have been talking about this for a while. Our conversations about collaborating started back in like November, maybe even October, of what it would look like to work together. And a lot of brainstorming went into that. We pulled it off in April of this year. You joined the journey with me. And ever since then, I feel like the stars have just aligned. So excited to have you on the team and so excited to have you on this podcast today and to share with our listeners some news of how the podcast is changing and the role that you'll be playing in that.
I'm really glad to be on board. It's been awesome to see how everything has come together since we started talking about this last fall. I'm excited to pick up where you left off, and we've got a lot of great content coming, and I'm looking forward to sharing it with our listeners.
I want to just look back on what I know. You and I went in a long time of friendship. We had a podcast episode together about lean coffee, and that was something that brought you and I together. And I know we have plans for lean coffee under the green dot here in Indianapolis, but we just want to talk to the listeners about your and I's background and how I met and how at the same kind of came to be. So want to maybe turn that over to you and let you reflect a little bit about the first time you and I connected and some of the things that you and I have noted out about in the past.
Well, if any of our listeners want to dive into some history about us, they can check out the earlier podcast you referenced where we talked about lean coffee. That's really where our journey together began. For those who might not know, Lean Coffee is a fantastic networking event for lean professionals. At the time, Tom and I were working at different healthcare systems here in the Indianapolis area. I was partly running the Indianapolis chapter of Lean Coffee, which really started out as a small group of about 4 to 5 people meeting in a coffee shop downtown. They quickly grew to be a community of about 70 people, all passionate about Lean Six Sigma and eager to share their experiences and listen to some really great presentations from some guest speakers we would bring in from time to time. So during one of these Lean Coffee sessions, Tom and I first crossed paths and we connected, shared our passion for lean principles, and quickly realized we had a lot in common. Over the years, we just kept in touch and hanging outside of Lean Coffee events, having mutual acquaintances. And I think we both knew even back then that our paths would eventually lead us to work together in a bigger way. And here we are, bringing it full circle, working together as partners on this podcast. And I couldn't be more excited about the journey and where it's headed.
Yeah, love that. I wouldn't be surprised if there's lean coffee events happening in the markets for some of the people who are listening, the improvement nerds that are out there. But encourage them to check it out, go and do that networking and connect with individuals who are trying to make a difference in their work and using the improvement sciences to leave their processes and their organizations better than they found it. It's so energizing and exciting. Those networking events are. And, you and I at that we of course talk about improvement and our careers, our ambitions, our professional lives, but we also compare notes on some of the things we enjoy doing outside of practicing continuous improvement. And, you know, I'm sure the listeners are going to guess where we're going with this, but you and I would say you're probably a bigger Disney fan than I am, but I do love Disney. So when Mark and I aren't talking about continuous improvement, you can guess that we're probably talking about Disney.
We're all about continuous improvement right now, but as soon as we hit stop on this recording, you could bet we'll be right back into our Disney chat as per usual, maybe comparing some notes on our favorite rides or planning the next trips, the Disney pin auctions that we attend, but I won't get too much into that. But yeah, Disney is definitely a shared passion for the both of us. And I think it's great to have that type of balance, getting energized by improvement work and then also being able to connect on different levels with something fun like Disney.
We can't overwhelm our listeners by even getting into passion for Disney right now. It would end up being just a marathon of an episode, probably 2 hours or so. So you're right. We got to keep focusing on continuous improvement, and we'll just make people aware that we love Disney and we can't talk about it because we won't stop talking about it.
Yeah, that's funny how it works. Now, of course, I'm going to break the rule and talk about Disney. I actually lived in Orlando for about 16 years, practically right next door to Disney World. Ironically, I wasn't a big fan back then, not like I am now. It's funny how distance can make the heart grow fonder. When I was living there, I didn't have as many Disney obsessed friends like I do now, so I didn't fully appreciate it. But now that I'm further away, I've developed a much deeper understanding or passion for it. I guess like a lot of things in life, you don't always appreciate what's right in front of you until you step back and see it from a new perspective.
And maybe because there was such a large break between our last Improvement Nerds podcast and this one, maybe people have just been itching for this to come back, and it's going to fill those people's cups for the ability to nerd out that might be missing. So hopefully bringing this back satisfies those people who have had it taken away and really maybe didn't know what they were missing.
Absolutely. I think there's definitely been a gap, and I'm excited to help fill it.
Great. And you were on an episode with me. You also listened to a handful of episodes. So I just want to reflect back on season one before we turn the page, and you and we start to walk towards season two. So thinking about season one, I know some of the memorable moments for me was I was recording the episodes during the pandemic. I was utilizing them to do something creative, to continue to challenge myself to get out of my comfort zone. A lot of people who listen to these episodes know that I have an introverted tendency, and it's not my nature to strike up conversations. I'm more of a quiet, behind the scenes kind of person. And the podcast for me was a lot of growth. It proved to me that I can carry out a conversation and it's not awkward, because as an introvert, as soon as you start having a conversation with someone, the first thought is, oh my gosh, you might come across awkwardly. But I had a lot of fun from the episodes getting out of my comfort zone. And I met some really wonderful guests who I'm still friends with today. And they, through LinkedIn and other channels, help to cross promote what I'm doing. And I like ruining what they're doing. So for me, the thing I reflect on was the growth that happened in the relationships that were created during that season.
Yeah, I really appreciate what you did in that first season. What I love about the Improvement Nerd podcast is while it's about nerding out on improvement, it's also deeply focused on people. So it's not just about the tools and techniques. It's about real people and how they can improve themselves to make meaningful change at their work and their life. And the way that you approach those conversations really resonated with that human centered approach to improvement. For me, some of the favorite episodes, I guess actually those first few that you did, listening to you talk about stepping out of your comfort zone, starting something new was inspiring. Amazing to see your growth through those early episodes to where you are now, so much more confident and eloquent. Honestly, I'm feeling a bit like you must have felt back then in episode 1 right now. But I'm excited about the journey ahead. I hope that, like you, I grow into this role with each episode. I'm really looking forward to connecting with our audience and taking them along with me as I find my footing through this journey and hopefully becoming a better host with every conversation that I have.
But I really do appreciate that you have called out that a lot of our emphasis when it comes to improvement is to ensure that it's people centered. For our listeners, if they're coming to this podcast thinking you and I are going to talk about the technical side of improvement, we'll mention tools, but most of the times we're going to be talking about the dialogues that they create and how they engage people and get their involvement. That's one of the things I've come to love about your and I's approach to continuous improvement is the human centered aspect of it. And looking back on every episode, you're right. That was people working with people, collaborating with the goal of leaving things better than they found it. And I imagine as you take over and walk us into season 2, that same theme is going to stay with this program and be a key touchstone for the guests that you bring on. And I'm excited for those conversations to start happening.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And I can't wait to dive into those conversations. Keeping the focus on the people. I like the saying, and I think I heard you say it first, and maybe you got this from somewhere, but the people are the work. And it's definitely going to be a cornerstone of season 2. I already know of an episode that's coming where that is the entire focus. So I'm looking forward to continuing that tradition.
Just take a few minutes or so to let the audience to know you a little bit. Obviously, we can't tell them everything about you because we want them to come and listen to episodes. Because I'm sure you, like me, as you went through those episodes, you share little nuggets here and there. So we want that to happen organically in your future episodes. But we also want people to know who you are and maybe a bit more about your background. So I love that when we do our icebreakers, the exercise where we put a little known fact about ourselves into the hat and we have to guess at who it is. And I love, I pack that with the ones where, it ends up being you or the ones where it's not you and the offense that you take to it. It's like, what was the one? It was something about running some endurance event or something and you were offended that they didn't guess that it was you. I'd so crack up about it.
Yeah. Well, why couldn't that be me? It's funny talking about myself doesn't come naturally unless I feel comfortable. And then you probably can't get me to stop talking. I always feel like I'm scrambling to think of something interesting to share. Over time, I realized I actually have more interesting stories than I thought. In fact, the last time we did that exercise with a small group, I put about 7 different things in the hat just to mix it up. And it definitely made it more fun for everyone trying to guess. Plus, it was a great way to surprise people.
That's a lot of fun. I'm sorry I missed that class because with the one where the people, when you had shared about your experience of being on reality TV, and then you had them kind of guess what the show was that you were on, and it, dated you a little bit because the show's no longer on air, but there were a couple of people in the classroom who like loved the show, and that was just a lot of fun when they found out it was. You have to remind me of it. Is Coco or is it Iceland's Coco?
Yeah, maybe it's best if we don't name the show.
I don't think we would maybe have to pay licensing fee to mention the show. Or maybe if they do, would that make us more famous if they try to kind of collect on us mentioning their show?
It's always surprising to me how many people have actually watched that show. I feel like it's so obscure and from long time ago that no one would even remember it. But in the class setting, it's funny to see how many people recognize it and really get excited to find out that I was on it.
Outside of that icebreaker game, I do want you to maybe talk a little bit about yourself and your background.
Sure, outside of my brief stint in reality TV, my journey has been different. Growing up, I was probably a C student in high school with no clear direction for my career, didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was nudged into the automotive field, even though I didn't have a passion for cars or engines. But when I bought my first car, something clicked and I wanted to understand how big machine could be propelled by a liquid. And that curiosity turned me from a C student into an A student because I was taking some vocational courses in automotive and really got into automotive mechanics and worked on cars for many years, starting at a very young age. The thing that I loved the most about that was no 2 days were the same. Each day brought a new challenge, a new car in my bay with a different problem that wasn't immediately obvious, requiring me to solve and figure it out. That kind of work was demanding, but it also sparked an interest in me to learn and teach others. And when I went to college, I initially pursued engineering, but ended up switching over to philosophy after taking a course that just really fascinated me. I love the process of thinking, problem solving, and understanding how others think as well. So the combination of problem solving and using different perspectives really shaped my career. Then I had an opportunity to learn from Lean Senseis, a well-known used automotive superstore. They brought in experts to teach Lean Six Sigma at the place I was working at. And although I had no idea at the time what Lean Six Sigma was, it completely changed my perspective. Learning and applying the tools that they were teaching us to tackle high variation because it wasn't an assembly line, it was used vehicles. So any make, model, year of vehicle that could have any number of things wrong with it, such high variation, almost seemingly impossible to apply Lean Six Sigma to those vehicles. Where you're not putting a new widget, a new cog together, being able to apply that. I mean, it was just a switch being flipped for me after seeing that, and it brought everything together. So, problem solving, critical thinking, helping others to improve their work. And since then, I've spent about 20 years in Lean Six Sigma across various industries, various organizations, and I've loved every moment of it. And now working full time with you and the clients we serve with the Green Dot group has been just one of the most fulfilling experiences of my career.
Yeah. I too kind of recall where that got flipped for me too, though. And to be honest, in the work you and I do together, when we are able to connect with the operators and the individuals who work in these processes every day and give them a new tool or a new way of thinking, and it allows them to overcome those obstacles. And you see the light bulbs go on in their head, and you realize for them, that's the moment where the switch is getting flipped. I tell you, that's probably one of the most exciting things in the work we do is seeing those personal transformations happen in which everything starts to come together for an individual and things just start to make better sense thereafter. So excited that you and I get to do that together. I remember when the switch got flipped for me, that was during grad year. So mine was flipped 12 years ago. So I've only been tinkering in this for 7 years, and you've got a lot of experience. You've been doing it for 20, and I'm just so thankful that you have brought those years of experience to the Green Dot and also to the Improvement Nerds audience as the host.
Yeah, happy to be part of it. It's incredibly rewarding to see, like you said, those personal transformation moments where everything just starts to click for someone. I'm excited about the growth opportunities actually that this brings for me and the platform itself. I'm looking forward to continuing to spread the message and hopefully flipping more switches for others who are tuning in. It's all about helping people to see new ways, and I'm thrilled to be on this journey with you and the Improvement Nerds audience.
Absolutely. I was starting to synthesize and guess, going forward into season two and on the work you'll be doing, it is the goal of flipping switches for individuals and igniting a fire for them and really talking about improvement in a way that's very human centered and understandable is going to really create for some exciting episodes. So I want to, hear from you or ask you maybe what our listeners can expect in those future episodes.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we should reconsider renaming or subtitling the podcast to Flipping Switches. But seriously, I'm excited about what we have in the pipeline for season 2. We've already reached out to some incredible experts in their fields. And I think our listeners are going to get a lot of value from the content that we're bringing to the podcast. We're going to dive into topics like branding, political savviness, and even lean approaches to learning and teaching. And, my hope is that we're going to offer something fresh and unique to anyone that's interested in the world of the improvement sciences.
Great. I don't know if we could turn the podcast from improvement nerds to flipping switches. I do love the idea. And that reminded me of something you shared a post with me recently. And you used the term lean geek early on. So this is just the way you think. You're definitely a lean geek, an improvement nerd. You're someone who's passionate about flipping switches. So I know that the audience is going to love you and the episodes you bring forward for them. I'm so excited to have you as a colleague and a partner in this journey. I'm so excited to watch your growth as you take on these episodes and share this message and share your excitement for improvement with our listeners. And just, I don't know, we got to somehow create a formal passing of the torch so that, the audience sees now that I leave this in your very capable hands and leave them in your capable hands. And I hope that they're excited about that. So, I've already donned you an improvement nerd, but now I'm donning you the improvement nerd. And thank you for stepping up to this challenge. I can't wait to become a listener of these episodes and your biggest super fan.
Well, as they say, with great power comes great responsibility. Thank you for the opportunity. I am truly honored to take on this role, and I'm excited to keep the torch burning bright. And don't worry, this definitely won't be the last we hear from you, Tom. You'll be co-hosting, I think, a few episodes with us, and you haven't gone away. So I have a feeling you might even become the subject of an upcoming episode. And I look forward to continuing this journey together and sharing our passion for improvement with our listeners.
Well, my plan was to just go back to my comfort zone and, work from home and work on Excel files and data sheets and never have to talk to a person again. But apparently you're not going to let that happen. So yeah, I'm excited that anytime you would welcome me back, I would love to partake in those conversations and help you any way that I can. But I know you're going to do wonderful, and cheers to the future.
You're here. Thank you.